Coming up in this episode of the Bigger Than Running podcast, we're going to be talking about the two sides of the running coin. The fun, enjoyable lifestyle side of running, and then the performance, PB side of running. We're also going to talk about my new AirPods 4, the new tote bag, hoodie, t-shirt that's been sent to me by the guys at URUNN, a new training app of which I'm an ambassador for. It's been started by people like Adam Clark, Charlotte Purdue, as well as Sir Mo Farah. Oh, we're also going to talk about my first run in Adidas's Pro Evo 1. And the man officially has the Ben is Running merch. All right, let's get to it. My name is Aubrey. I'm a very average runner, simply trying to be less average by the day, and I'm good with being me. As at the time of filming this podcast, we're now at 179 subscribers. We're soon gonna hit that 1,000 mark. I promise you. And it's all down to your support. Okay, topic number one. Let's talk about the two sides of running. Welcome back to the fourth episode of the second series of the Bigger Than Running podcast. I say the fourth episode, as you know, or you might not actually. I had the podcast running for my main YouTube channel, Bigger Than Running. I then created a dedicated YouTube channel specially for the podcast to just create that separation because viewers were getting confused. We had shoe reviews happening one day, and then there is a race vlog and a training video, and then suddenly it's an hour-long podcast. And so just to bring that distinction, created a separate YouTube channel, which is the one that the video version of this podcast goes to. And that's if you're not listening to me on Spotify or Apple or Amazon. So, second season is what that means because we've started on a separate YouTube channel. That's essentially it. And this is the fourth episode of that. Last week, I started touching on elitism in running. And I want to touch on that before I start this week's episode because it feels like an overflow of that topic. So, elitism in running, it feels like when you're my kind of runner, there is some sort of gatekeeping being done within this space by faster runners or more seasoned or experienced runners that other runners that might not be up to par start to feel judged. Now, I'm not speaking hypothetically, I'm speaking because such has been my experience. I have been judged either because of my appearance. I don't look like a runner, some people will say, or my seemingly lack of seriousness with the sport of running. And therefore, during races, I'll stop and dance with the bands that are performing at the race event and stuff like that. And so I'm judged a certain way. Some of it, the criticism, the judgment, I accept it for what it is because people are allowed to have opinions. And sometimes those opinions have led me to be better. The other side of the elitism, I think, is people just having expectations or standards of other people. So, for example, I put up an Instagram reel talking about people that wear hydration vests for short distances. Those people have been judged and looked down upon just for that, Like, you don't know what that person has that hydration vest for. There's some people who've commented to say, actually, I've got a medical condition that requires me to have this with me. And the most convenient and suitable way I've found of carrying those things is the hydration vest. Some people, I don't like the marathon flip belts or whatever it is because things jiggle, and I don't like half tights that have got the pockets and pockets in shorts, things jingle about. The best way I've found that fits to my body really well and pack things, hydration vests. To me, I don't even think anyone needs to explain why they're wearing a hydration vest. Heck, if you just want to wear one, that's up to you. Even if you're running 2K, why should it be someone else's business that you're wearing a hydration vest? It's a shame that people even have to explain medical conditions because of a hydration vest. So for me, I'll tell you what, man, like, even if it just matches your outfit and you think it completes your look, and if that is what helps you enjoy the sport of running, do your thing. Honestly, it doesn't harm anyone. We've got serious problems in life than worrying about somebody running in a hydration vest. The other thing we talked about is I've had people come to tell me, Aubrey, man, you shouldn't be wearing such shoes. You don't run fast enough to reap the benefits of such a shoe, a carbon plated shoe, and all this kind of stuff. And the only comments I will entertain are those that come with an air of caution, because carbon plated shoes might impact your legs in a certain way. That bit I get. And also some people have gone, actually, do you know what? That person can buy a cheaper shoe and run the same. I also get that. But let's also remember that that person has made a choice. Do you know what I mean? They've made a choice with their own money on what shoe they're going to run in. So if it's outside of health and safety, avoidance of the risk of injury, I get all of that. But if they've made a choice, let them. And honestly, I feel like some of you seasoned, faster, more expert runners are where you are because you didn't have people like you pushing you down all the time. The sport of running at that age hadn't filtered down to social media as much. It hadn't gotten to as popular as it is right now. And therefore you had space and you had liberty to become the runner you are because you didn't have the toxicity you bring currently. I think that bit needs to be said. And so for me, I feel like let's give people the liberty to blossom and be who they will be in the sport of running without this level of judgment or toxicity. Just my opinion. Okay? Anyway, that's where this episode is coming from. And for me to properly explain that, I thought I would touch on what I think are the two sides of this running coin. The first side is the enjoyment, just fun, pastime, a hobby, jogging, that side of running. And then you've got the other side of running, which is performance. That is the side that is either trying to run a certain distance at a certain time, and it goes to the training of that. Having a detailed plan that walks you through easy runs, long runs, threshold runs, intervals, understanding terms like lactate threshold and all this kind of stuff, because it's driving you towards being faster, being fitter, being stronger, being better as a runner. Okay, I want to distinguish those two things because I feel like if you don't distinguish those two things, what you're left with is these two areas bleeding into each other. All right. So let me start with talking about the first side, the fun side, the enjoyment side. There was a time where all I wanted to do is to just get some running shoes on and I just run. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to talk about PBs. I didn't want to establish myself as a 5K runner, a marathon runner, or anything like that. All I wanted to do is to just have my shoes on and I go running. I may have been at work the whole day. I come home and then I think, okay, I'm going to deal with the children. I got to deal with this, but you know what? I just need time for me. I would put some headphones on and just shoot out for a run. That's it. Nothing else. I come back and that was it. I would track how long the run took me. Absolutely, I would, but it wasn't necessarily gearing up to or measuring up against a certain standard. I didn't have any performance-related goals per se, at all. All I wanted to do was just to run. And then there would be times when other people wanted to run and I would join them. And where I live, I started a little group where the whole point was just getting each other out and running. Sometimes we just run 4K. And that's simply because we were running to a certain set of traffic lights and coming back, not because we were running 4K. Other times it's because I was in the gym. I lifted weights and I knew I needed to get out for cardio. And that's all it was, just a way of keeping my body moving. And that's all I wanted to do. Okay. So you've got that side of running. Now that side of running could be combined with tourism. It could be combined with park runs. So I know some people wake up on a Saturday morning, they know for sure they're going to a park run. And they're not going to a park run because they want to know what time they're going to get at the park run, even though they look at the time. but it's just routine for them. It's become tradition. So they will go to a park run, do the run, maybe go out for a coffee with friends, and that's just part of their weekly routine. Go home and then start the weekend. You have that side of running. Some people will be out on holiday, and whilst they're out there, they just get out for a run to see the city that they're visiting in a different perspective. Because normally when you go on holiday, you're on the beach or you're in a hotel, you're in a city break, and you're just on your feet. But maybe just a run gets you out there. For some people, it's just that they're trying to lose weight. And so maybe when they go out running, at the end of the run, they look at the calories burned because they're trying to be in a calorie deficit. And that's what running is to them. Running is just that. For some people, and I want to say, even though there's performance in terms of a goal here, it's just, can I run 5K? And that run might mean walking. And by the way, there was, in the Instagram reel that I posted on my Instagram, if you want to check it out, my Instagram is bigger than running, same as the podcast and the YouTube channel. Somebody then said, actually, you know what? Leave me alone if I do a marathon and I do run walk. Then somebody said, well, if you're walking, you're not really running a marathon, are you? Now, let's not be quick to dismiss that challenge, because if you want to be pedantic and look at the words that are being used to run a marathon, if you're walking, you're obviously not running, okay? But to finish a marathon, regardless of how, to me, is a massive achievement. It's not for everyone. So if you have to walk sometimes, and I've had to walk, 2 of my marathons, New York Marathon and the recent one, Chicago, I had to walk. Not that I chose to, I had to walk. But I still finished that marathon. Those are marathons I'm very proud of. But there was a big discussion on this Instagram reel where somebody thought it's not legit if you're having to walk. You can't be calling yourself that, you can't say you ran a marathon if you had to walk. And some people then challenge to say, actually, some people go into marathons with that being their strategy. They do a run walk. They literally go there to walk some of it and run some of it in intervals. Okay, so that shows you, I hope I've detailed out the more enjoyment, the fun side, the leisure side of running. On the other side of the coin is performance. Now, I've lived on the performance side for a while now. Let me explain that side. At the very peak of performance. Now, this is where some of the elitist mindset, the people that think are gatekeeping, they forget that there is this side of elite running. You're talking of people that run marathons in 2 hours, 5 minutes, that run 10Ks in 26 minutes, that run 5Ks in 12, 13 minutes. I'm talking about people that take the sport of running into limits that the human body gets defied. There is that, okay? And then there are these people that are just good at running, and they are great at running in comparison to the lay people, okay? So if you just look at Jane down the road, sorry, Jane, right? She's just started running, she's doing couch to 5K. When you compare Jane to Jeremy over there, Jeremy's been running 5 years. This guy can do 5K in 19 minutes, in 20 minutes. Suddenly, Jeremy is a god to Jane, okay? But what Jeremy should not forget is there is Tony, who runs 5K in 13 minutes, okay? It's all going to be relative. What is going to be unacceptable for Jeremy is to speak to Jane and start looking down on her. Unacceptable. Okay. Anyway, let me carry on. Within the performance side, there is goals that people will set. Whether that is, I would like to run a 5K in 30 minutes. Now, to do that, if you currently run 5K in 40 minutes, that 10-minute is going to take you a lot of work, because your body has to do some adaptations that It's never done before. Your lungs have to perform differently. Your heart, more importantly, your mind needs to know this is something you can do and therefore not bring you in a panic that stops your body from trying. It is so important that this training takes a certain shape. Okay. Now that might be, if you're running 5K, you might need to start doing long runs. And your long run might actually be 10K. Because if you can run 10K at a moderate pace, it gives you the confidence that maybe you can run 5K in a faster pace. You need to start doing intervals that start to show your legs what the goal pace looks like. For you to run a 5K in 30 minutes, your legs need to start moving like this. So the intervals start to show you that little by little. You need to start understanding what the threshold pace is. Because if you exceed that pace, lactic acid is going to have a party in your body. You need to start understanding it. You need to now start tracking your data, understanding what that looks like. Oh, hold on. That means my apparel needs to look differently to when I was just doing this for fun. That means I need to train sometimes, even when it's raining. Oh, okay. So there is clothing specifically designed for that. That challenges you to look at footwear differently, because when it comes to race day, you might want a different shoe than the one you've been doing your easy runs on. So there's a whole different aspects to performance running compared to easy running. When I was getting ready to do this episode, I went on my Instagram and URUNN touched on this very thing. The side of performance running won't always feel nice. Don't lie to yourself that you're going to enjoy it. You enjoy it more when it's finished. But truthfully, so yesterday, in the shoe section, like I said, I'm going to talk to you about Adidas's Pro Evo. I did a threshold session. Now, let me explain to you what this was, because it hurt, right? Earlier in the week, I did an interval session that required me to do a 4-minute interval at 4:42 per K pace. Okay? Remember that. And then I recovered. You could walk, you could do a slow jog, and then 3 minutes at that pace. Walk, and then jog, recover, go again 2 minutes, and then 1 minute, right? Except yesterday's session was 2 minute 30 at 4:40 per K pace, and then 2 minute 30 at my marathon pace. That marathon pace is what was considered to be my recovery before going back to 2 minute 30 at 4:40 again. So the 4:40 rep and then the marathon pace rep, I did that 4 times, 8 reps in total. There was a time where running at my marathon pace, even for that interval, was hard work. But because the goal is now shifted, I'm training for something completely different, a whole different beast, a whole different animal. Because of that, my performance feels different. Now, I won't lie to you, I didn't enjoy the session itself when I was doing it, because my heart rate is in zone 5. It's beating at a heart rate of around 190 beats per minute. That is not comfortable. Okay, the muscles in my legs to have done the fast rep, and the program called it a hard rep, and it called the marathon one a steady rep. So when you go from the hard rep to the steady rep, you're not recovered. Don't get me wrong, you've recovered more, but I wouldn't say I'm recovered. And then I'm going again. That part hurts. It does. It's not fun. But you do it because you know it's part of the process for the goal and what you're trying to do. So there is a performance side of running that won't always, don't get me wrong. Some sessions feel great. Some sessions don't. But you can't skip out on the hard ones if you have a performance-related goal. Okay? Now, why was it important that I distinguish between the fun, enjoyable side of running and the performance side of running? Simple. You see, there are people that live on the performance side of running that look at the people that are doing the enjoyable side of running and start judging them. This is where the elitism comes in. And it's important. It's important you take note of that, because I don't want you seeing this as a hard line that you're either on this side or this side. Okay? Because Jane is on the enjoyable side, but she's done a race event. She now thinks, oh, that was good. Let me try. But she still has a mentality of just enjoying the run. She still has a mentality that says, you know what? No, I'm all right with these shoes, thanks. I'm all right with my hydration vest, thanks. But what was the guy's name again? Jeremy. Jeremy over here starts looking at Jane. Like, Jane, what are you doing, mate? Do you even know what you're doing? You see? And so I don't want to make the guys on the performance side look bad. There's also sides on the enjoyable fun side that can be idiots and judgmental about the people on the performance side. So for example, there are comments like, oh mate, what? You pay how much to go run a race event? Look, if you don't want to pay to go run a marathon, the 10K event or whatever it is, that's on you. But these people on the performance side, they also have goals. They have things that keep them ticking, that keep them enjoying life. So just because you are not serious about what they're doing, you shouldn't be judgmental. Okay? So let's not look at elitism only for the people that are performance-based judging these guys, but let's also look at, and the term I heard being used is amateurism. Now, I don't like that term because I don't think it correctly describes the scenario I've just painted. I think the people on this side just simply judgmental. Now, here is one thing I also want to say about the people that are on the fun, enjoyable side, what they do wrong. They fail to acknowledge the discipline, the consistency, the dedication that the people on the performance side have shown over and over again. It takes such discipline, execution, dedication to change the physiology of your own body. For your body to adapt and become the machine that it is, that does the 5K in 15 minutes compared to what you've been trying to do, say, for example, in the past 1 week, month, to just go out for a run. These guys have been dedicated to that and suffering through it for all that time. So you kind of have to appreciate and respect it. The thing I don't want to do is make it seem like it's the faster runners that are always judgmental, because I've met some faster runners that have been so amazing. And I'll always go back to my man Cole, my man Ben is running when they pace me, because those guys are the perfect example of that performance side, putting their pride, their performance, their excellence down to come and encourage someone who's more on this side of the running scale. So it's not always the performance guys that come with the negativity and things like that, but it's also the guys on this side that may be too judgmental. So let me talk a bit more about what these guys do wrong a bit more. The guys that are just here for fun, when they get judgmental about these guys. If it pleases the performance, the serious runners, the performance-led runners who've dedicated their lives or their free time to running, if it pleases them to pay money to go to these running events, allow them to. Statements like, what, you pay that much to just run down the road that I run on every day? Leave them. If this person does not want to go clubbing Saturday night because Sunday they've got a long run, allow them. Okay? If your preference is all of your time is spent on cleaning the house or being with your children, don't be judgmental for someone who finds a little bit of time for them to go running. Okay? Because that's what keeps these people happy. If you maybe spend money on going out on holidays, to restaurants, to meals, that's what you enjoy doing, don't judge this person because they've got X 100-pound pair of running shoes, because they like that their outfits match a certain way, because they like to have the latest tech within them. That's what keeps them happy. If you aren't aligned to that, that's you. Let's allow people the freedom, the space to just do this running thing how we want to. That's the biggest headline I can give to this episode. It is just a humble plea to allow people to blossom, to allow people to stay who they are without you feeling like you need to chip in. Unless, of course, your advice has been solicited, you've been asked for opinions, guidance, unless you have been kind of brought in for, do you mind helping me with this? If it hasn't been solicited and you feel like you're sharing it in the best interest of the person you're sharing it with, they will know, okay? They will know by your tone. They will know, they'll be able to discern what your intentions actually are. So for me, I want us to just acknowledge that there's two sides to this running thing, and sometimes those two sides bleed into each other. How do they bleed into each other is the last thing I want to talk about. Somebody might have just decided to start this running thing, okay? And they've seen the fun in it. They've seen, actually, I like how I challenge myself. Actually, last time when I went running, I only ran 2K. I can now run 2.5K, 5K. Actually, let me look into this. Actually, let me download an app like Runner, like Cooper, like URUNN, like the Garmin Connect app. Let me see where this can take me. Slowly, you start seeing a move from that hobbyist to taking this thing seriously. Oh, they've booked their first running event. Oh, okay. There is a gradual move from one side of this running to this other side. I'm not saying it's inevitable because somebody might just choose and be 100% content with just being on the fun side. There is also the transition the other way. Today, I posted on my Instagram to ask people what their 5K PBs are. And it's a post that's been well received with so many people commenting their times, what they're working towards. But there was also a big population of people. So they said their fastest time is like 17 minutes. And that's because they achieved that and they would never achieve that now. So it may have been some time ago. Somebody mentioned about having an injury. They don't have any desires to get to that. And you find that sometimes other runners who are super fast, transitioning to the more casual. You know what? I just do it to keep myself healthy. I just do it and you see some people slowly transition to the more relaxed side of running. I don't mean like complete hobbyist, but you're going to see a transition between what they once used to do to just sort of running it for their mental health, for staying in shape, for just getting out, for staying in touch with run club friends, slowly transitioning to less of performance, more of lifestyle and enjoyment. So it's important. I feel it's important that I illustrated that because if you just take 1 second and go, okay, this person I'm dealing with, where are they on this scale? And how can I help? It changes how you talk to someone. Now for me, I've got that in two different aspects. Because I run, all of what I've just explained matters to me. The added problem I then experienced was I was doing all of that under the exposure, under the microscope of YouTube and Instagram. So what I was saying, what I was showing was open for everyone to see. I'm an open book. That then allowed people that were either on the performance side to either spur me on, support me, encourage me, or judge me harshly because I didn't do things according to the standards that they were expecting. I didn't measure up to the other YouTube channels that they were watching. I wasn't talking using certain words when I was reviewing my running shoes. I wasn't trying to run with 100,000% dedication because here I was running with a camera, just vlogging it. Here I am when I go to the race. As I'm running, I decide, I like the way that band is playing. I'm going to slow down and dance with them. To someone who is performance-minded, there was somebody who said to me, I was an insult to running. There are people that are trying so hard to get to that event that you've gone to, Aubrey, and there you are just dancing and flapping about. I was like, wow. I've been invited to race events. And some people said, Why do you focus on all these international events when there's local events in your own local area that you could be supporting? Do you know what I mean? Like, simply because. And the reason is I'm a public figure. So people can share what they think publicly, which I get. But once you understand that I'm just a guy trying to enjoy the sport of running, and you know what? Some of the running might be at a world-class stage over there in Sydney. Some of it might be over there in New York. I get all of that. And there are some people trying to get into the ballot to run these things, and here I am having the opportunities to do so. But you should also remember, I'm still over here. I'm a guy that just simply wants to see the world and just enjoy my running. Just that now, more than ever, I'm probably more on the performance side than I was there, but I've never lost my identity in the fact that, you know what, all I want to do with this running thing is see the world, enjoy the sport, meet people, and just build communities of everyday people and expose them to the sport of running. That's it. But that will come with judgment from all ends. I even got judged by the people on the more relaxed side because I'm now different. There was a time, Aubrey, you used to be just a normal runner. Look at what you're doing now. Busy associating with brands and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, wait, so what's the issue? Okay, so I don't just want to come across speaking against the elitists, but even the people on this side now are annoyed because actually I go on this trip with this brand. Therefore, I'm no longer a down-to-earth person. Are you serious? If you truly know who I am, I'm telling you now, that's all I will ever be. I'm grateful, I'm humble, I'm down to earth. Going to these things does not mean I'm not. Because I put out a video on my YouTube channel about caterpillars turning into butterflies. You are not supposed to be where you always were. You're not. As a runner, if you decide to put in time to invest and get into running, if you keep to it, you're not supposed to just stay where you are. Heck, even children don't stay where they are. If you do, it's a concern. So there's certain things that I started to learn and started to adjust, but there's certain things that I'm not going to apologize for, and neither should you. Okay? Anyway, so that is the first part. I also told you I'm going to talk about URUNN. All right, let's get to it. Now, there is an app. This app is a training app. It trains you towards a specific goal. Now, recently, there's been a sudden boom of apps that train you how to run. You will know apps like Runner. Okay, Runner was acquired by Strava, and Runner is one of the more well-known ones. You then have Cooper. And I'm saying the ones that I've trained with. Cooper is the official training app of the London Marathon. I've trained with them. There is Kaizen. I've never used Kaizen. And then there is Nike's Run Club. Excellent app. Love that. By the way, I love the ones I've just told you. One thing you should know about me, I'm not going to put this app versus that one or talk bad about this app. Depending on where you are, your circumstances, each app could work for you differently. It's all going to be very personal. Now there is another app called URUNN. Now URUNN has been set up there's a guy called Adam Clark. I've followed him for a while. His name's Clarky. Highly relatable guy. Wezzy, fast runner. And Charlotte Purdue, together with Sir Mo Farah, they've set up a running app. Okay? Set up a training app. You're going to check it out. They reached out to me to be one of what they're calling pacers, what you and I would know as an ambassador, or to be affiliated with them in some sort of way. Now, for me, I'm not seeing it as an ambassador. In other words, hey guys, sign up, use my code, I get commission. No. Out of transparency, there probably will be such arrangements. But the one thing that has driven me very well, driven me so much to want to be with them are the events that they're planning on holding. And these are events that I'm going to be holding. When I asked the question on my Instagram today about people's 5K times, my responses looked very different to the people that were saying 36 minutes, 30 minutes. I want you to imagine a running event where the fastest runner is just there to support. A running event where the majority of runners would probably be the back of the majority of shakeout runs you see. I want you to imagine a running event of people that just want to try out the sport of running. I introduce myself as an average runner, simply trying to be less average by the day. And I want to be the voice, the representation of these people. Remember when I talked about the other side of coins of people just trying to get into running? I would like to be the face of that person. I would like to have these running events with the biggest brands in the world, but for normal people. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that when we say, guys, we're going to shake our run, oh, what paces are you doing? Probably going to be doing anywhere between 7-minute Ks. And then we're going to have somebody at the back who's going to be walking. That's the type of event I want to do. And having my chats with Clarky, I've made it very clear what I'm here to do. There's no word of a lie. I want to be the face of that person. You know, the runners that are at the back of the pack, for them to have the world-class events that the faster runners get, as much as we can be afforded. You know, so for URUNN to partner up, here is my dream, right? For URUNN to partner up with a brand like Adidas, for them to be doing a running event, either at a track, not because we want to do splits and get whizzy times, but to educate somebody who's never run before exactly what this means, whatever this is, to start building a community, to start showing the side of running that truly is enjoyable if you surround yourself with the right people, with your tribe. That to me is what interests me. Anyway, I'll share more on URUNN as we go, but I thought, let me quickly show you what they sent me as my welcome pack. So, starts off, let's see what size this is. All right, it's a medium. Don't worry, it's a medium. Boom. So they sent me that. That is URUNN, excellent quality hoodie. You're going to see me wearing this on the podcast for sure. And then similarly, there's a t-shirt. This is their strap line, good strides only. Now, they'll probably have the reason why they called the strap line this, but let me explain to you what it means. Again, there is a need for positivity in this space. There is a need for the voice that says everyone is included, especially if you're slow, especially if you're new to running, especially if you felt left out, especially if at that running event, you're normally at the back of the pack, especially if you felt judged. I'm telling you now, that's all I would like to be. If you want to talk about threshold lactate, stretch 2, VO2 max, X times, probably won't be the podcast for you. And my journey with URUNN, now they've got different paces. Now the other paces might have their own internal passions about what they want to do in terms of their partnership with URUNN, but this is what I want to do. Absolutely get you training to be faster, to be whatever it is your goal is, absolutely. But I don't want people to forget the other side of running that is often underappreciated. All right, anyway, so that's the hoodie and t-shirt. Save this for last. And then, bang, send me some socks. The socks I've got there, the URUNN logo, and then at the bottom, Good Strides Only, their logo. And then there's a tote bag. Now, on my main YouTube channel, I started a series which I've put on pause while we sort out what's happening with the next race. The next race is going to be Brighton 10K. I normally have a bag on, boom, like this, a bag. And then if I did a run and I want to talk about the kits that I used on that run, that tote bag is what I put my kit in and I take stuff out one by one. And so that's what this is. It's what it's going to be for. Good tote bag. Again, it's got that strap line, Good Strides Only, and bang. Okay. So the hoodie, t-shirt, the tote bag. Now what I'm about to show you now is probably the best bits. Bush. Right. We've got a tube of M&Ms. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to shout for the kids. I got to cover the mic because I'm going to shout. Zaya, and Olivia, come please. Right. I've called them over. There you go. So, whilst they're coming, we've got M&Ms.
Whoa. What are these?
M&Ms that have come from URUNN.
Hold on.
And they've got messages on them. Right. That's it. You could go. Right. So, for those of you watching this on YouTube, and close the door. Watching this on YouTube, you'll see those donuts in there. Lastly, this blown me away. I have Apple AirPods. Apple AirPods 4. Oh, check this out. And then on the case, it says Good Strides. So they've been customized to their branding, which is really, really cool. A very big thank you to the team at URUNN. Excited for this new chapter, and I promise you nothing but world-changing movement. All right, next bit, I said, so for those of you that have been listening to this, this is the fake it till you make it section. But this one doesn't feel very fake. But when I say fake it till I make it, at some point, one day, my podcast will be sponsored, okay? It will be sponsored by brands, and we're going to get money. We'll do some fun stuff with that money, either investing it in kit for the podcast to start off with, because I want to have a dedicated space for the podcast. Now, normally I'll do my YouTube videos in the garage, as you see, if you see them, but I want to have a dedicated podcasting space with very good equipment, very good internet signal. That way we can do this and do it well. All right. Anyway, the reason I said this doesn't feel too fake it till you make it, this is Adidas's Pro Evo 1. This week I saw the influencers, the A-list ones. Sorry about that. But it's a reality. I feel like influencers were on different grades, we're on different levels. Now, I say we because I'm an influencer. I can't deny that. Both on YouTube, I do have this influencer brand thrown on me, and I've accepted it. Not only accepted it, I've embraced it, okay? But I feel like within the the influencers, there's different levels, right? So when a shoe comes out, you know for sure, Believe in a Run are going to have that shoe. The run testers here in the UK, they're going to have that shoe, okay? You know that. You know Ben is Running is going to have that shoe. You know, you just do it. You just know, right? You know, once in a while, Aubrey's going to have that. You know. It's never known, right? Anyway, with the Pro Evo shoe, this week, I saw the A-listers unboxing the Pro Evo 2s. I saw the guys of Run Testers. My friend Kieran, who is part of the Run Testers, he was running this weekend in the Pro Evo 2. Ben Felton unboxed his. You know, you start to see all these people with Ali, my friend Ali Head, unboxed hers, and there's Aubrey in the Pro Evo 1. However, not many people would just be given a Pro Evo 1 shoe. So don't take that as me saying, oh man, I'm looking down on myself, because it's still a big deal. Now, I've had this shoe for a while, but I kept it. I kept it because it's a Pro Evo shoe. It launched at a price of £450. Let me just take a second. 450. Do you know what £450 can buy you, right? It's obviously now discounted because the new one is now at that £450 mark. Anyway, so I took it for a run yesterday, simply because I'm going to run the Brighton 10K this coming Sunday. And as I'm running, I'm going to run in this shoe, the Adidas Pro Evo 1, simply because I don't have the 2. If I did have the 2, that would be the shoe. So I want to put this to its pace. The current PB for 10K is 47.50. We're going to try and see if we can break that. Hopefully we can, but let's see how it goes. That's the plan. Now, what makes this shoe special? Now, when I review running shoes, I will do two things. I like to give people the specs. I like to give people the details. But on this podcast, I don't want to. I want to give people a very realistic, layperson, everyday language view of a running shoe on this podcast. Now, there are different types of shoes you can have. You can have your daily trainers, which is what you're going to do your standard running in, just going out for a run. Or you can have some shoes that are lightweight and they are fused in with a carbon plate within the midsole or the platform of that running shoe, okay? Like this shoe. Those are lightweight and springy. They're full of propulsion to keep you going in your race, like this shoe. However, within that realm of running shoes, there's different levels. At a certain time, this was the peak of Adidas running shoes, this shoe. This is so important to flag that. Now, the reason why I brought this shoe on a podcast is simple. There will be people that say, Aubrey, you don't need a shoe like that. And there will be 100% right. There will be 100% right. I don't need a shoe like this. Do I want a shoe like this? Absolutely. Do I get to experience a whole different side of running because I've got a shoe like this? Absolutely. In many different ways. The performance of the shoe, the way I feel running in the shoe, absolutely. So we acknowledge the practical need for it might not be there for someone like me, but the very practical want for it absolutely is. The reason I brought the shoe onto this podcast is to ask you the question, what kind of shoe do you think you need? Now, I want to answer that very simply. It's a very simple answer. If you are, remember the first bucket we talked about of people that enjoy running shoes? Yeah? Good. If you're in that bucket of people that just want to enjoy stuff, find a shoe that you're comfortable in that helps you enjoy the sport of running. What shoe wouldn't do that is a shoe that doesn't fit right to the shape of your foot and size, is a shoe that might feel too heavy and luggy and plays too much of a part in your run. It might be a shoe that's got hot spots, maybe give you blisters. So it might be a shoe that doesn't align with your gait, how you land. So look into all those things and find that shoe. Similar to the performance stuff. Look for a shoe that facilitates whatever run you're doing and the goal you have. But more importantly, the overarching reason why a shoe is a good shoe is the one you enjoy the most, the one you're comfortable in. And I'll be wrong if I lie to you and tell you otherwise. This shoe here is exactly that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. When I'm going all out at all of my ability, this is that shoe. The Adidas Pro 4 is that shoe. Nike's Alpha Fly 3, Hoka's Cielo X1 2.0, Hoka's Rocket X2 is that shoe. There's so many race day shoes. I'm not locked into a certain brand to feel like I need to talk about that shoe more than that shoe. I just felt like in my first run in this shoe, man, it's a great shoe. I pray for the day maybe Adidas send me the second version because I know for a fact I don't have money to buy it. So I pray they do. And when they do, I honestly can't wait to talk about it in front of you guys like that. Okay? All right. Last bit. I want to talk about two YouTube channels that made my day. First one, and I always call this guy out, Jason's Running. Jason's Running is a YouTube channel that I have followed for quite some time, and I've promised to support until we get him to 1,000 subscribers. If you come across this, now I know that not many people know this podcast, but even if it's two of you that have never heard of Jason's Running, please search it up. And you're going to see Jason's Running's YouTube channel. It's a running channel. He shares race vlogs and his experiences with the running he's doing. Please check him out and subscribe. Let's get him to 1,000. The second one, as you can see, I'm wearing Benny's Running's merch. Received the merch, and he sent it out to me, and I didn't have to pay for it, which feels like maybe I didn't support him as much as I could. But as I mentioned in last week's podcast, I've done a lot. I've done a lot in supporting him and making him know that he is appreciated, him and his Mrs. Meg, for what they're doing. We love what they're doing and we're fully behind it. Okay. And that is the one thing. So I want to talk about weekly highlights. Now, now I'm a Garmin fanboy. I use a Garmin watch. This watch here is a Garmin 570. I use HRM 600 as my heart rate monitor. I use Garmin scales to keep an eye on my weight and other stats, body fat, and all this kind of stuff. I'm a Garmin fanboy. I got to go to, and as you know, I'm a running channel fanboy. If you didn't know, you now know. The running channel has shaped what I do. The presenters on there, approachable, friendly people that have become personal friends of mine, including Andy, who is the founding CEO. I went to an event where they were premiering their film. They did a coast running around the island of Isle of Wight as a relay. And so they were premiering that at one of the cinemas in London. And I was invited, not by the running channel, by Garmin. Can we take a second? By Garmin. Anyway, so whilst I'm there, they filmed some content. There was Liz, who you might know as Resiliency Running, Liz Newcomer. Check out her YouTube channel as well. She was there with her boyfriend, Gabriel. And I also just found out that Gabriel has an Instagram account. And I didn't know about this. Now, normally I'd like to just quickly get this show and not talk and mumble too much, but I'll be doing Gabriel an injustice Gabriel Bailey. And then there is Leon. Leon is Sweets Lewis on Instagram. This guy ran around Jamaica, right? He was there. And if it works out that I get my Tokyo place, he will be there also finishing his 6 stars. So that's going to be really cool to be there. That's going to be fun. Liz is also going to be in Tokyo, by the way. But on the running channel team, Garmin got us all together and filmed us for a reel, and the reel went live on Instagram. I can't believe it, right? Being the fanboy that I am. Now let me also be very realistic here. For those of you that truly connect with me and what I'm doing, you will know that what I'm about to say is not a statement of arrogance. But I get a lot of opportunities come my way. And so some things I get to do, I have planned for, I have proposed myself, and the brands will say yes to. But some things just completely exceed my expectation. One of those is Garmin working with me. Garmin sent me this watch. Garmin, and this reel on Instagram, this spoke volumes to me because I'm just a fan. I love what Garmin does. And so to have been included and involved in it, absolutely mind-blowing experience. So a very big thank you. So thank you very much for making it to the end of this one. I hope it was insightful, informative, inspirational, educational, or at the very least, entertaining. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in a bit.